When I was breaking down this fight, I didn't like it. I thought that this could be a prelim fight right here. Not to be disrespectful whatsoever to these athletes, but I just think their styles are going to counteract each other right here. You got Rafa Garcia, who wants to be in your face, who wants to chain wrestle. He could box. He could box. You maybe don't want to have him, prolonged, extended minutes boxing, but Jared Gordon is going to be very technical, stand up in your face. He's found some power as of late, being able to put some people away and work that clinch, anti-wrestling game. I just think they're going to counteract each other, and it's probably going to be a boring fight, but there still is money to be made. I just have to start off with this before we get into any assessment. Jared Gordon is a minus 235 favorite over Rafa Garcia, which I thought was slightly surprising. Don't get me wrong. Jared Gordon's good. He's been on the wrong end of some decisions, but that's the problem. Sometimes the fights get a little closer than he intends them to be. So for him to be such a big favorite, what are your thoughts initially on this matchup?
I think they're hating on our boy Rafa Garcia, Derek. Don't get me wrong. I expected Jared Gordon to also be the favorite right here. Although I was thinking like a minus 120, minus 115, kind of around their play for Jared Gordon going in this. But even with the last fight that Rafa Garcia had against Vince Pichel, like he did show he is still who we think he is as a fighter, right? Rafa Garcia is still very dangerous. He's still very game. But I do think the tendencies of him needing and almost being forced to get on the inside to do where he does his best work is going to play right into Jared Gordon's hands, man. Like you said, that clinch work, the stuff he has going for him, Jared Gordon's going to have a lot of opportunities to choose where he wants to take this fight.
Yeah, and that's the thing is like who can be in the driver's seat right here? Because Rafa Garcia wants to pressure you. He wants to get your back against the cage. But Jared Gordon, on the other hand, has no problem playing that style, right? So it's just going to come down to like the extended minutes boxing. That's the thing that really worries me the most. We know Rafa Garcia is tough. Remember that fight against was it Mahashate, where he got the cut artery and his face was gushing, right? If I remember correctly, he won the fight. Yeah, he still won the fight, man. So he's tough, and you're going to have to put this dude away. He's only been knocked out once, never been submitted right here. Jared Gordon, on the other hand, coming off of that knockout victory against Thiago Moises. AJ, talk to me. How does that impact the style of fight that we see from Jared Gordon? Because it was a tit-for-tat boxing match at that moment until Thiago Lopez threw that left hook and just got countered, smacked in his temple, and got dropped right here. Are we going to see a little bit more of a proactive Jared Gordon who wants to push the pace a little bit?
I don't know, Derek. I don't know if we're going to see him initiating, pushing the pace, especially because that's what we like, or that's what Rafa Garcia likes to do, is get out there and really start getting the pressure to get to the inside part of the fight. But what I do think we're going to see Jared Gordon is using that pressure, using that violence, and willing to let Rafa Garcia in, sit in that pocket, and then find those moments. So if Rafa's going to bring the same kind of violence we saw in that Thiago Moises fight, where it's just going to be all pressure from the jump, I don't think Jared Gordon has any problem sitting there willing to throw the ones and twos and find the same kind of finish he did in his last fight.
Okay, that's fair. So I think this is a pretty straightforward matchup right here. The better striker is going to be Gordon. The guy who has an opportunity to wrestle is going to be Rafa Garcia. And he did pick up Vince Pichel and put him over his shoulder. So who's to say that he can't do that to Jared Gordon right here? But when it comes down to it, the actual power threat, I do think it comes more from Gordon than it does from Rafa Garcia. I'm not sure if Rafa Garcia is going to be the one to knock him out. So again, another situation where it's minutes versus moments right here, but Jared Gordon is generally speaking going to win the minutes here. Yeah, and that's pretty much all that I got on this one. So I would say this. I think Jared Gordon at his money line price right now on FanDuel, at least, which is minus 250, is a little steep right here. You tell me though, AJ, are you comfortable playing a line this steep on Jared Gordon, or do you think that there's other plays at hand? Because I could go ahead and I could pull up the methods, and Jared Gordon by points is minus 115. And I think that's much more reasonable.
That's where I was leaning, Derek. Jared Gordon by points minus 115 makes all the sense, because I don't agree that he's that big of a favorite, right? The minus 250, I still see a lot of opportunities where Rafa Garcia is going to be able to find those moments in the fight and be able to win at least a round, right? The end of a couple rounds, whatever the case, and who knows how the fight's actually be going. So personally, I like Jared Gordon by points. I think he's going to win the majority of the fight right here. And I mean, I think the odds makers see it as well at minus 115.
And here's your correlation. Over 2.5 rounds, minus 310. Jared Gordon by points, minus 115. Rafa Garcia by points, plus 400. So they either think he's gonna knock out Jared Gordon, or Jared Gordon wins this on points. I think that's a pretty fair play right there. So it's safe to say, consensus pick, Jared Flash Gordon. All right, man.